guys, if you are in the market for a suppressor wrap, check out Rauch Precision. That is R-A-U-C-H Precision. This is their Tactical Freedom Wrap. If you look on their website, I've got a promo code for you guys. This is DTHA 2019. For Dave the Honest Asian, you'll get 10% off your order. Super great quality, and you'll be supporting a veteran-owned company. Hey guys, Dave the Honest Asian here. We're going to talk about IFAKs again. If you haven't seen my first video on IFAKs, go ahead and give that one a look at. It's pretty basic, but it is what goes inside these things. This is the IFAK Generation 1. IFAK stands for Individual First Aid Kit. They've come out with a second one. This is the IFAK Gen 2, and what this is, it's a little bit of an improved version over the IFAK 1, and we're going to talk about some of the differences. But first off, this is in Multicam. You know, the U.S. Army is switching from ACU to OCP, which is kind of a multicam design. And so typically, you know, these are going to be out there in multicam. You might find a couple other different patterns out there, but multicam is pretty much the go-to now, or OCP. So on the outside, there is MOLLE webbing. It attaches by MOLLE webbing to any belt, plate carrier, flick, or any sort of webbing system that you have that is MOLLE compatible. On the outside, it comes with two tourniquet holders, and these are actually pretty slick. I do like these designs. This is a little bit, or this has been used a little bit for training and stuff, so it's a little bit beat up, but the overall outside design of these tourniquet holders is pretty slick. So they feature a kind of a oversized handle on the outside, and there's a button. So when you go to pull and rip these, it comes right open. They're attached by some hook and loop. There's a little fastener at the bottom, which kind of keeps everything together in case this outer flap opened up. But you can either rip that out, or your tourniquet is partially exposed, and you have quick access to that to apply to yourself, to your buddy, in any sort of emergency situation. So there's two of these, which is super nice. Gives you really fast access to them, and the fact that they're modular. So you know, the pouches themselves, they attach by MOLLE webbing as well. So if you needed to, you could switch them around to, you know, having at least one on your front or up by your shoulders, whatever your SOPs say. Now, the actual carrier of the first aid kit, it's got some pros to it. It's also got some cons, in my opinion. So some pros some improvements over the IFAK Generation 1 is that this is designed to be kind of on the back of you, so either on your plate carrier or on your belt line. And with that, you know, with the IFAK 1s, they were, you know, kind of a top-loading design where, you know, you could access it with either hand, and it wasn't that big of an issue. But if you're in some sort of awkward position or actually laying, you know, kind of supine on your back, it can be a little bit hard to have to pull up to access your medical supplies. So they solved that on the IFAK 2s by kind of making a side load design. If you can see, it's ambidextrous. It has two pull tabs on the left and the right side, and it's kind of secured by Velcro. So what you do is you pull open the slot, and then on the inside, this little pull handle, it's attached to the carrier by Velcro. If you can see in there, just a probably 1 by 1 inch pad, and then you can go ahead and just rip the whole thing out. So, and you can do that on either side. It's got a lanyard on it, so in the event that you know, this gets separated or you're using this, it can kind of all stay near the casualty or near the person you're working on. But to me, Velcro gets worn out really easily, so I think there could be some improvements done to that, or you really need to be careful, especially if you're doing what I do, which you'll see in a minute what I'm talking about. So the overall carrier is actually pretty nice. It's, you know, a heavy-duty nylon material. The top flap is secured by some hook and loop, and it opens all the way up. So on the inside here, I have filled it with kind of the standard IFAK supplies, you know, some compressed gauze, an Israeli bandage, some 2-inch tape, a needle decompression, or chest decompression needle, nasal airway, and a ACE wrap. Now if you'll notice on the carrier itself, there are some labels at the top, so you can kind of get an idea of what's supposed to be in there when you are going through and loading everything up. Talking with your corpsman or your doc or whoever, make sure that they know, what you have and where it is, and it's supposed to be all set up uniform. But what I have found with my, I guess pretty limited experience with this, I've used this in training only, but if you have everything that is labeled in the IFAK, it is super bulky, and it's really hard to close up, especially if you've pulled it out a few times and everything's not exactly perfect like it was set up from the manufacturer or day one. It's super hard to get everything to fit just right, and it's kind of bulky. So if you're like me, I pulled out everything that I didn't think that was necessary and for my purposes, right? So I'm going to be using this for either keeping it in my car, going to the range, going through classes and stuff. I'm not worried about like having an eye shield in here or a marker or whatever. I'm going to have major trauma, major hemorrhaging or massive hemorrhaging control measures, such as tourniquets, wound packing supplies, pressure bandage, etc. So that's something up to you, and you got to kind of decide if your doctor or I'm not sorry, your corpsman, your medic is worrying about or is at least having a conversation with their provider and other medical professionals about what you guys want to have in your IFAKs. Now, what I was talking about as far as the actual construction of this, it's super great, and I like the fact that it's kind of a side load, so it's easier to grab if you're laying supine. But the Velcro does get worn out pretty easy, and it's a little bit awkward to pack everything back up, or to at least for this particular one that isn't kind of brand new, I'd have some concerns about losing supplies if you're going through kind of rough terrain, or if you're doing a bunch of vehicle operations or whatever, where there's a lot of contact happening with that IFAK between the ground or a seat or whatever. I do think that there are some better options out there. I mean, honestly, I probably would prefer to stay with the IFAK Gen 1 just because it's all sealed up nice and tight with a buckle. You're not relying so much on Velcro, which as I said, can wear out very quickly. So I think some better options out there are going to be the Blue Force Gear Trauma Now kit, the IFAK Gen 1s. You can get kind of multi-purpose pouches from anywhere and load them up and use them as an IFAK. If you are limited by what your unit uses or has guidelines, protocols for, definitely you kind of got to abide by those. But I think for my purposes, I'm going to take those tourniquet holders and place those on my kit somewhere, and then I'm going to revert back to the IFAK Gen 1. If you thought this video was helpful, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.